Alrighty, traders. This is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the crap. Hold on. You know, I do that to you guys almost every day. It's like every day I forget, oh man, I'm gonna do a video. And I'm doing the video by special request for you guys, from you guys. Just disaster over here. When I realize I'm going to turn on video, I'm like, oh God, clean up this and that and that and this and this and that and that. Let's move that around, and then realize that you guys are on. So, because when you look now, my office looks perfect, right? Yet what you don't see, maybe sometimes, are the weights that are back there, and then the kettlebell that's over there, and then do you know, a lot of times it's funny because you guys can't. I should have a mirror so you can see kind of what I view over here. You don't really need to see my desk anyway, but or my screen setup. But a lot of times I'll be sitting here and I'll be trading, or let's say I'm in the chat room and I see, and you guys are in chat, right? And I'm chatting with you, and I'll come up to the keyboard and I'll type, and then I'll stand back, and then I'll I'll do some curls and I'll come back and I'll type some more, and then I'll go, ooh, I want to buy the euro, and then I'll buy the euro, then I'll do some curls. It's silly. It's silly what you have to do here. Some of you, Amira said, your office is too tidy. You're missing a mess in this room. I try to keep it kind of tidy. Alex said, oh yeah, quite good. Yes, compared to mine, it seems like a nuke passed by. It's funny, just before the COVID hit, right? Luckily, I converted part of our garage into, and I know you guys live in different parts of the world, so it's different, obviously. In our garage where we keep our vehicles, there's a extra space, like a half space. Don't ask me why it's there, but it's nice because you can put storage in there. Usually you can put storage spaces or boxes or whatever you want to do there. We actually hang all of our storage from the garage over the vehicles as you pull in the vehicle. So it's kind of nice for space saving. And by the way, living where I live, everybody has a garage because it's so damn hot that if you don't have a garage and it's 120 degrees out and your car sits out there, getting into a vehicle, it's like 170 degrees. Think about that. I mean, it'll actually cook food. I mean, that's how hot it is, or it can be when your vehicles are sitting outside. But this one area in our garage, actually, the original owners of this home had converted that into a walk-in wine cooler at some point. But then they closed it off, and they left it open as we moved in, or before we moved in, like an owner before us. And so we have this space, and I actually converted it into a little workout area before COVID, which was really nice because obviously as COVID hit, I'm like, oh, I can't go to the gym anymore. And what also happened, ironically, is price of exercise equipment went through the roof, and you couldn't get it anywhere. You couldn't get anything. And like I said, literally 6 months before our COVID lockdown, I had converted that area. The timing couldn't have been, better on my part. It was, obviously is not a planned situation, but it's worked like that. But it's funny because I bring in half of my workout equipment into my office because I just don't leave my desk. So, if I'm sitting here for hours on end, I'll, like I said, I'll just start lifting weights and chatting with you guys and, making a video, and it's weird. Weird life sometimes. Okay, that has nothing to do with what's happening right now, because what's happening right now is we were seeing a really big move up in these yen pairs. Leon pointed out, and I was talking about it in the chat room, let me go over to yields. Yields are ripping here, and you can see how they've moved up in the 10-year, but that's also actually had all these other yen pairs move up. I mean, you got the euro yen spiking higher, the pound yen spiking higher. Pound yen's at channel resistance, which had been thinking we're going to get up here, but obviously today we're breaking higher. The Aussie yen's finally starting to move up in this channel. New Zealand yen's at the 127% extension. I wouldn't want to be long this right now. I don't know if I'd short it, but I wouldn't want to be long right now. Matter of fact, unless you're already long these yen pairs, I don't know if I'd really want to be long them right at the moment, but you probably want to be a buyer on pullbacks if you can. And the one that's actually most shocking to me is this dollar yen, because the dollar yen was holding. Let me go over to the 4-hour chart here. We were holding this lower trend line that I've been watching, and I was like, man, it looks like we're going to probe and break down, but we didn't. We held above the 108.50, never got to the 108.50, and now we're above the 109.65 level. And that's the 618 retracement. So now it looks like the dollar yen and these other yen pairs are going higher. So that we have to be obviously respectful of, right? We have to be respectful of the fact that those are moving higher. I don't necessarily believe you need to be chasing them higher, but buying them on dips does make sense right now. Now, I guess the question we have to ask ourselves is, is that going to be the same with risk? I mean, is risk going to move up at the same rate, meaning our stock's going to move higher? And the thing is, I look at the S&P and we're just stuck at this 4,200 level. Maybe it dislodges. Maybe we actually rally towards highs. I don't know. But let's just say, and I'm just speaking like I'm just speaking based on this particular chart though. If the S&P doesn't rally, and let's say we just float around here for the next 24, 48 hours, and then we start to sell off, maybe it's Friday tomorrow, and we start to see a little bit of move lower, imagine all the people that are buying this week, or buying today, or buying all week. They've been getting long all week, expecting for the markets to push to new highs, and we're not. You might get maybe some, I would say profit taking, but you would get some people saying, yeah, well, I didn't get paid for being long this week, so I'm going to go ahead and sell that. Then what happens with, like, let's say, I'm just throwing this out there again. Let's just say stocks do this, we pull back a little bit. Okay. And we move back down towards, let's say 41.50, 41.60. Not a big move, just, pull back a little bit. What would happen to these yen pairs that just pushed higher? Do we get, some sort of, false breakout? Pound yen reverses at the channel resistance, and then we head back down towards support. Aussie yen still in this, this channel, pushes back to the 618 here. New Zealand yen, does that, bring us back down to the breakout point? Maybe. Canadian yen, do we get maybe a false breakout here, and we, come back down towards these levels? That's, I think, the risk to those if stocks can't build on their gains. I'm not saying that stocks won't build on their gains. I'm more looking at the market saying, why haven't we gone up? Biden knew, this infrastructure plan looks like that, the Republicans and the Democrats are getting closer, to an agreement in principle, what they want. That's good for stocks, right? I mean, right? But stocks aren't reflecting that. So what's the problem? So, you know what I mean? Martin said, hey, Blake, was out all day. Why is this yen so strong? Any known reason? A couple reasons. Yields going higher is one. Yields going higher. Mark Chandler, he just noted there's a huge expiration at 110 in the dollar yen. So that's, you know, had some catalyst too. I think yields moving higher based on an infrastructure deal, possibly that has, you know, helped all the yen pairs higher. But again, I'm not 100% sold on it. I'm not really willing to chase it higher. Okay. One last thing I should note today, and actually, Amir asked for the IWM. Look, Google at the daily chart. Let's take a look at just really quick because Amir asked about IWM. Here's IWM. Yeah, we're, you know, again, I'm gonna say we're challenging the underside of this trend line. Let me get rid of this really quick. Let me get rid of that fib and let me do another one here. 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. Don't go anywhere. I drew this here the other day. I was trying to give you an example of risk reward for that short. It didn't completely play out, but it did play out lower before moving higher. But let's talk about high to low. And let's do this. 78% retracement there. Yeah, I mean, so we're at the 618 of the high to low there, but that's not that doesn't even matter because from this high to low would matter. From that high to this low doesn't matter because that's inside of this move. So it's really this move that really matters. And I think that was a gap. So maybe the 78% retracement about 226.78, I guess. Amir also asked about Google. Oops. I'm old enough not to call it Alphabet. I still think that's the stupidest name. But what do I know? Not my company. I didn't start it. I didn't make trillions off of Google. I guess they'll call it whatever the hell they want, right? I mean, Google's also near the 78% retracement, kind of struggling here. Yeah, I mean, you know, yeah. Craig said, after the expiration at 122 in euro, do you expect lower? I think that's going to be more. And you know what, Craig? I don't have any expectations, to be honest. And, you know, when usually I have a feeling like, oh, you know, I expect the euro is going to play some catch up here, or maybe we're going to turn lower. I think it really has more to do with what equities do. You know, I think it'll be the stocks are moving up, dollar gets sold, euro is going to head higher, or stocks are moving down, dollar might catch a bid, the euro goes lower. I don't really have any expectations of this euro. One thing I do have to mention about the euro though is it's just not following through to the upside, and that's got to be a concern. If you're long euro, you're probably going, damn, you know, how's that not going up, right? So that would be my 2 cents. And I'm going to just let it do this, you know, break support or break above these highs. And we're already at risk of a false breakout here. So I'm more inclined to believe we're going to break lower because of the false breakout, but that doesn't mean that that's going to be the case. I'm just saying that I'm more inclined to believe at this moment, based on what we're seeing right now, that we do break lower. But I mean, if stocks start ripping, the euro is going to have no other choice than to go higher, right? That would be my 2 cents there. Other than that, Bitcoin's failing at 40,000 again. That we should, you know, recognize. Like Bitcoin can't get up and go. Precious metals aren't really doing anything. It's just mostly yen pairs. And I guess with the dollar yen moving higher, you would think that, you know, with the dollar yen moving higher, that these precious metals would also be moving lower with, you know, a weaker yen. but they're not. So that's another scratch your head type of thing. Craig said, hey, Blake, it looks like VIX wants lower. Yeah, I mean, it does, but you know, I would have said that here, right? I would have said, well, it looks like VIX is going to drop down to the teens, and then boop, you know, it's like, yeah, I think it does, but you know, every time VIX is down at these levels, we, you know, get some buying that comes in. So I think the VIX is more, you know, what do we do with what happens with equities? You know, I guess as long as equities are above 4,000, or maybe 4,100, I think is maybe the better clue. As long as we're above 4,100, then you know maybe VIX does continue to trade heavy. Last but not least, Palladium. Oops, let's see. This is going to be for Amira, and then I got to go. I've got to film a video. Palladium. You know, that's interesting. Look at the bounce and look at the long wicks. So you see the sell-off and then we're bouncing and then the wicks are long. Tells me that Palladium's kind of trading heavy here. If this is a 50 DMA, like if we close the day back below, you know, the 50 DMA, let's just say, that would leave another long up wick. That means you want to sell if you intraday. If you think it's, you know, too overvalued, I think you got to sell it, because what this is telling you is we had a nice sell off. Now the bounces are minimal, right? That's what I think. Craig said VIX making lower highs. Yeah. Well, when doesn't the VIX make lower highs? Unless we go in a full-on risk-off mode, we're going to just, you know, be making lower highs. I mean, that's just kind of volatility. That's the nature of volatility for you, right? All right, guys, I'm out. You guys have a great one. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the chat rooms. Bye. Ooh. Video. Turn off the video. See ya.